Godfatherism has long been a defining feature in Nigeria's politics, emerging from the country's transition to civilian rule in 1999 to it reflects the influence of powerful political figures who shape outcomes behind the scenes, often determining who holds office and how power is exercised. Now, from Rivers to Kano, Edo to beyond, the story is familiar. Entrenched leaders clashing with successors, proteges, breaking away from patrons, and political battles spilling into governance. In Rivers State, for instance, the standoff between Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara underscores how loyalty and control remains contested. In Kano, Rabiu Kwankwaso and Abdullahi Ganduje's rivalry highlights the enduring pool of political structures built over decades. In Edo State, we've seen Governor Godwin Obaseki challenge the dominance of Adams Oshiomhole, while Rivers again recalls the earlier struggles between Peter Odili and Rotimi Amechi. Tonight, we examine the origins of Godfatherism, its influence on Nigeria's democratic process, and what lies ahead. Is this system of patronage and control weakening, or is it simply reshaping itself for the next generation of leaders? Topical question. Well, joining me to discuss this right now is Dr. Sam Amadi, as the director of the Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. He joins from Abuja virtually. Thank you for your time. All right, Dr. Amadi, if you can, of course, hear me. Let's before we get neck deep into the politics, particularly in Rivers State, let's look at the concept of Godfatherism and the Nigerian political space. Some will say it's been, a system or culture. No, not a culture. Maybe a system that has been on for decades. But I just want to put it to you and ask you, are we seeing it waning, or is it getting stronger, by every election cycle? I think we have a bit of difficulty there trying to connect with him. Once we're able to connect, we'll definitely bring him on. Just also to highlight, with specifics to what is going on in Rivers State, the face-off between the Minister of the FCT, that's Nyesom Wike, and also the Governor of Rivers State, Governor Fubara. Months back, we saw a state of emergency being declared in that state as a result of this political standoff. The president had to intervene, declaring a state of emergency, and of course that ran its course, and people did react. As a fallout of that declaration of state of emergency, when the governor was reinstalled or resumed office after his suspension during that period, he extensively thanked Mr. President, saying that he averted his impeachment, and that if not for the timely intervention of Mr. President, he would have been an ex-governor. But it didn't stop there. He moved from the People's Democratic Party to become a member of the APC, and that didn't seem to sit well with the former immediate past governor of the state, who is now the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike. And of course, it appears that that political rivalry or cold shoulder has continued. I think we have Dr. Amadi back. Dr. Amadi, it's great to have you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I went off briefly.
All right, let's, before we get neck deep into Rivers politics and all, let's look at the concept of Godfatherism and its influence on Nigeria's politics over the years. Are we seeing this, getting emboldened after every election cycle, or are we beginning to see it wane?
Well, I think it's getting emboldened every election season. If you look at what we had before in 2019, now before 2019, we've always had godfathers, and oftentimes their strategy has been different. There have been godfathers who implant successors, step back, and maybe through contracts and other type, they collect patronage from the state. Everybody knows, even if as far as 1979, we had the Zik, the Awolowo, the Shehu Shagaris, they had godson. For all indications, Jim Wobodo was a godson of Azikiwe, Mbakwe, but none of these potentates, these godfathers, were overbearing. None of them kind of fought with their godsons about who should take charge of what. So that's the difference. Again, if you come to since 1999, seen godfathers. But what is different now is that we are seeing more pronounced rupture between godfathers and godsons, arising from maybe maximalist demand, arising from the character of politics becoming more personalized, arising from the weakness of party organization, arising also from the near opportunism, the crash opportunism, and the total politics has become completely denatured, completely demoralized, in a sense that the ideals and moral quotient, the value systems, the principles are no longer have been thrown to the wind. So we now have bare knuckle politics, mercenary politics, very opportunistic and defined by crash opportunism and the politician politics.
Dr. Amadi, Dr. Amadi, I mean, just to put this, I mean, in a bit of context, you try to sort of create, a picture where over the years, the concept of godfatherism in Nigeria's politics has evolved. But I would like you to also put it side by side, what exactly the concept of, say, maybe mentorship now within this context, and is there a difference? Because from your analysis, godfatherism, in the early, what I call the political process of Nigeria, seemed like more of mentorship. But right now, you use the word opportunistic demands by the godfathers, right? So can you have a situation of maybe mentorship in this? I mean, I would like you to speak more as, it relates to mentorship and also when it becomes exploitative.
Okay, so godfather is a concept that kind of adapts to circumstances. It's the same as mentorship, same as elitism. Look, empires, great republics, even great nations have been built by elitist preoccupation. So if you talk about Korea, maybe there are leaders who fancy themselves as political elites. They come together, they decide who gets what. Their focus is developmental. They fancy themselves as those who have manifest destiny to create their nation. And so today, we talk about Lee Kuan Yew and the set of Oxford auxiliaries who are trained in Oxford. We talk about maybe Gerald Park in South Korea. So elitism now looks like, when you say elitism, it becomes bad. But there have been elitist moments where people see their responsibility to procure the common good. Now, the same with mentorship. Is it politics is a career? It's also a craft. Politicians like Max Weber many years ago talk about those who have vocation for politics and the vocation of politics. So there are those who live by politics. That's their career. So they get mentored. Just like the craftsman, lawyers used to get into guilds, into the professions came from guilds. So there are tricks of the game. There are also ethical undertones that the mentors pass to you, moral conduct, moral codes. Those who are, we talk about Awoyis, for example. So that's a mentorship school, or Zikist. Those who are young actors, young activists who get raptured by Zik as charisma and his intellectual, offering. And they went to the school of Zik, and Zik trained them. Or those who are maybe Samad Bello, those who are his people, who now learn from him. And so that's mentorship. And again, those people become godfather. Now, their role as godfather might be to stabilize in government. If there's a crisis, you run to them. They give you advice from wealth of experience. They make the necessary network and contact for you. So a good godfather like Wike, for example, is a good father in that sense to the governor. If the governor has problem with the legislators, he will make a call. The godfather calls him and says, what's the problem? They say, he will be a conflict manager. He resolves those conflicts. He nudges them towards the right political trajectory. And maybe the idea is for them to dominate politics to achieve some strategic objective. It might be group interest, it might be transformational, it might be otherwise.
All right.
What is difficult, and this is important, godfather is one of the procedure of godfatherism, of learning politics, of also learning governance. those who are grandfathered into leadership, and their grandfather, or godfather, stay by the loop to help them deal with problems, to pass skills. Some skills that sociologists call mentis, local knowledge that you can perhaps learn from Harvard or Kennedy School of Government. That's the good side. But what we have seen really is the very narrow definition of political interest to economic interest.
All right, we'll definitely pick up. We'll pick up on the economic interest that you have highlighted and stream it down to what is happening, if at all in any way related to Rivers State after our first break. Stay with us. We will be right back. I still have as my guest Dr. Sam Amadi, is the director, the Abuja School of Social and Political Thought. He joins virtually from Abuja. And also joining this conversation right now is Professor Siminalayi. He is, of course, a public affairs analyst and a political strategist. Gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. Well, let me come to you, Professor Na. Professor Na, I mean, just straight on, let's subsume this conversation to Rivers politics within the context of Godfatherism. But I'm going to put a straight question to you. We are seeing Governor Fubara. I mean, the conflict is on two divides. Those loyal to the FCT minister, the immediate past governor of the state, His Excellency Nyesom Wike, and also the current governor of the state, Governor Fubara. And on the minds of many Nigerians, the big question is, looking at all of the dynamics playing out now, from your analysis, what do you think will laugh last?
Well, I listened with attention, Dr. Sam Amadi, not just now, yesterday in another television station. And I want to say this, that resonates with me succinctly, that Fubara is going to laugh last. All that it needs to be done is for Wike to be removed as a minister, and that's all. Once he's pulled out as a minister of FCT, I think he's done. And I'm saying this with benefit of hindsight. You see, Fubara is the governor of the state. And by his position as the governor is 001. So the state facilities and the state structure belongs to him. The state APC has equally said that. Recall that even the APC
an impeachment process has started already. You said the state, he has control and influence in the state, but the House has started an impeachment process against the governor.
Okay, let me tell you that that process is dead on arrival. I'm not a lawyer, but I can tell you that in the letter, if what we're hearing is right, they addressed Fubara as madam. The last time I checked, Fubara is not a woman. So that infraction alone will, destroy that. Another issue is I recall that they are going to be sending it to the children of the state to appoint a 7-man panel. And the last time I checked, that chief judge was appointed by Fubara. If you will equally cast your mind back to all the impeachments that have been done in this country, there is none that succeeds without the backing of the president. And I want to believe that the president is backing Fubara for two reasons.
Okay.
Recall that a day before he moved over to APC, he had a private meeting with the president. Before now, that meeting would have been President and Wike. Again, the president, either the president invited him or he went to France to see the president. And when he came back from that movement, he started talking tough. So if you piece all the things together, you'll find out that that impeachment notice is going to go the way the first two went. It's not going to see the light of day. Today, 2 of the members of the House have moved out of that, and they are encouraging their other members to equally toe the line of peace. Can I play the devil's advocate here?
I'm with you.
If Fubara knows his game, he will use Machiavellian, the Prince principle, divide and rule. It should throw the House now and remove the Speaker.
All right.
And that will be the end of that impeachment move.
I mean, you seem to place Governor Fubara as a man of strength, you know, even though some will look at it and say, looking at what happened during the declaration of a state of emergency and suspension, Governor Fubara seems to be one that will rather toe the line of peace and maybe might not want to ruffle waters. But I'm going to direct the same question to Dr. Amadi. Dr. Amadi, looking at all that is happening in Rivers State, the same question to you. Who do you think will laugh last? Is it the FCT minister or Governor Sim Fubara?
Well, I think the ultimate winner is Tinubu, but again, because he has created a competition where all these two actors are going to outdo themselves to be seen as Tinubu's person. Wike campaigns and says, we just have one unit party, Tinubu's party. Leave local matters for us. So Fubara goes and says, we are Tinubu people. So end of the guy who is Rabiu or the net winner is Tinubu. But the two of them, I think Fubara will laugh last for two reasons. One, I think at the political level, don't forget that impeachment is a political issue that turns into a quasi-judicial legislative matter. When the House says gross misconduct, the law is clear. It is misconduct in the eye of the beholder. So it's political. And now that the president has incentive to throw a wage, to calibrate how it goes, those two guys who came as talking horses, they kind of their prelude to a dropping the ball. The message is clear. They couldn't have come out if, in a way, they want to redirect the political grievance from impeachment to some kind of political settlement. So that's what we're going to see. We saw it with the emergency rule. The emergency rule was a way Tinubu maybe craftily, apart from his own political agenda, will craftily postured Wike's without giving Wike what Wike wanted. So Wike got a win by the fact that the governor stepped out, but Wike didn't get a win because Wike was moving to impeach the governor. And of course, the president knows too that Wike is not that popular in Rivers State. Wike won, Tinubu won narrowly with too many allegations of falsification because Wike was in power. So it's not because Wike could drive the vote. So he wouldn't risk a governor, sitting governor, who is largely popular. You know, I've been in Port, I was in Port Harcourt the day of the state of emergency. Fubara, especially during that period, was very popular.
Sorry, Dr. Amadi, you seem to infer that the current governor, Sim Fubara, is more popular than the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike in Rivers State.
I think so. I'm not talking about who's more powerful, popular. You see, this is two factors. Underdog is the one who seems to be victimized. And usually the popular sentiment is the guy who is seen to be victimized. You know, he looks very calm, very subdued, almost like he doesn't know what he's doing. But those are the kind of persona that attracts public support. Again, he has also tried to use his office, just like he happened to Wike. Look, when Wike was governor, the Godfathers pushed him. And the wise thing that people who are fighting Godfather do is to invest in the people. So he's doing a lot of roads. Wike did a lot of work in Port Harcourt. But Fubara is moving towards the river area. So the opinion is that they like him. I think he's popular. Again, the other leverage he has is that this is an impeachment that will fail likely. Because look, end of the day, you're going to get to the chief judge. Now, this chief judge is not politically partisan, at least not a Wike appointee, has no cause to favor Wike. It could be objective or to support the governor. And so what it does is the 7 persons appointed, once they are neutral people, I don't see how they will see a gross misconduct since Fubara came back from suspension till now. So it's going to fail judiciary. But I think both Wike and Fubara will be saved the fight. Tinubu wins again by brokering a deal that gives half to this, half to that. That's why I say the winner always will be Tinubu. But the winner will be there. Next winner will be Fubara.
All right. Before, of course, we wrap up this segment of the conversation, I want to come back to you, Professor. Professor, do you think, and I would like you to respond in 30 seconds, one of the, well, I call it narratives that have been out there is that the FCT minister should not meddle in the affairs of the APC in Rivers State since he's not a member.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that the dynamics of politics in that state, given what is happening now, might change? Should the FCT minister wake up tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm joining the ruling party? 30 seconds.
It might change, but it will not have a significant effect. And I'll say this because the party has agreed that Fubara is #1 in the states. So if it decides to move over to APC now, it will dance to the tune of the APC in the states that is solidly behind Fubara. And if you know the ego of Wike, the way it is now, he can't go to APC. Because he knows if he moves to APC, he will be rubbished.
All right.
So he will stay and play the spoiler that he has been playing, both in PDP and in APC. That's the game he has been playing. And that's what he will continue to play until he is finally removed as a minister, where he does not have a backing again. I said it in one program, I don't know whether it's in this station or in another station, that if he's removed as a minister today, the law of karma will take its course. Fubara will have the right to, move a point of a personal non grata to him. He did it to Amechi. Amechi only survived because he was using federal might as a minister. Now, if he's removed as a minister, now,
all right,
he can be pronounced personal non grata to Rivers State.
All right.
And even stop. See, you're underestimating Fubara because he's quiet. Such people are dangerous. Don't underestimate such people.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. In 30 seconds, Dr. Amadi, do you also think this, the dynamics might change? Should the FCT minister move to the All Progressives Congress? 30 seconds.
Yes, it might change. He will be less important to President Tinubu. Look, if he gets sucked up into the APC, they have hierarchy, he wouldn't do much. But here in PDP, where he's doing a spoiler job, I think that's where his greatest value to the party is. So if he moves, he becomes one of those powerful leaders with Rabiu, with Opus Odemma in the South. Many people, he just key in. The governors will always have precedence in the party structure. But again, things change. I think he has a personal value to the president. And so I don't know how much it's diminishing or whether it's growing, and that's what keeps him in this game. Yeah, it's strange that somebody who's an APC member will be trying to control APC politics. This is a new phenomenon in Nigerian politics, and it's because of the personal, private relationship between him and the president and his value in 2023, whether it's the same value for 2027. It looks like it's diminished. So if he joins APC, my prediction is that he will be less powerful.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure having you. Dr. Sam Amadi, Director, the School of Social and Political Thought. He joins virtually from Abuja. And also many thanks to you, Professor Siminalayi, a public affairs analyst and political strategist. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for your time.